Back to our top story, 10:32 now here in New York City. From Washington, Rex Tillerson is now out as Secretary of State after a rocky 14 months. President Trump naming CIA Director Mike Pompeo to replace him. That's a nomination that goes through the Senate proceeding. The shocking announcement first made in a tweet just a short time ago by the president. I want to bring our chief political anchor, Brett Baer, out of Washington. Brett, good day to you.
Morning,
before I get your reaction for the viewers, here is how the news came down 60 minutes ago.
Worked with Mike Pompeo now for quite some time. Tremendous energy, tremendous intellect. We're always on the same wavelength. The relationship has been very good, and that's what I need as Secretary of State. I wish Rex Tillerson well. Gina, by the way, who I know very well, who I've worked very closely, will be the first woman director of the CIA. She's an outstanding person who also I have gotten to know very well. So I've gotten to know a lot of people very well over the last year.
So, what do you think? Surprise to you and the fallout?
Well, I think it had long been talked about, speculated about, but the surprise is the timing and how it comes out via tweet and then this announcement on the South Lawn. I think that you have a surprise in the State Department because just days ago, I talked to senior officials who were planning a number of trips, said Rex Tillerson didn't have any plans on leaving, and there was not a sense over there that this was imminent, that this was going to happen. He had survived all of those rumors for many times. Obviously, the rumors that the president was not pleased with Rex Tillerson had been circulating for some time. And I think that Pompeo was the natural next step. He had been talked about before. I even asked him about this in a forum, the Reagan Defense Forum in December. And, of course, he didn't really answer.
I think we've got that queued up. Hang on here a moment. This is your question, followed by the answer from December. Simi Valley, watch.
So let me start with this. If you were Secretary of State for the Trump administration, have you had talks about another job?
Very focused on doing what I'm doing, Brett. It is, in spite of what former DCIs who used to have all of the IC tell me this should be a part-time job now, it is all of that. I'm incredibly focused on it. There's lots of work to do. I have been privileged to do this for 10 months and serve with the finest espionage service in the world, and look forward to continuing to work at it.
So that was 3.5 months ago. What was your hunch, or who was saying what in your ear?
Yeah, those stories had been circulating here in Washington, and there had been one story that it was going to happen very soon, and that Tom Cotton was going to be at CIA, and that Pompeo was going to move to state. So that question actually came the day after that story first posted, and obviously he didn't answer that.
The critical thing I heard from the president a moment ago, we're always on the same wavelength, referring to Mike Pompeo. Is that true? When it comes to North Korea, and it comes to Iran, it comes to tariffs, et cetera?
Largely so. And I think that the biggest thing that you're going to see quickly is Iran. I think that Mike Pompeo is about as aggressive on Iran as you could be, and he is in sync with the president that the Iran nuclear deal is not something that was good. I've interviewed him numerous times before he became CIA director, in which I asked him, is there anything good about the Iran nuclear deal? And he said no. And I went through one after the other, and he said no, no, no. I think it's more than likely, Bill, that the U.S. gets out of the Iran nuclear deal. Nikki Haley at the UN, Mike Pompeo now at state, and this president, I think, are going to pull out of that deal.
What is the effect of that, if that's the case?
Well, I think there's a lot of questions about what happens after that, and allies. Obviously Iran then will rip up the deal because the other allies are not going to be able to continue on if the U.S. is not a party to it. So there are real policy questions that have yet to come. And does Iran then kick into gear its nuclear program if it hasn't already?
Wow, what a story that would be. And the dominoes, follow in line, right? I mean, you were just in Saudi Arabia as well. I mean, they have significant concern over Iranian power and the growing power there. Benjamin Netanyahu was at the White House for 3 days last week, and you know where his position is also. I would just add this. The president said, I did not talk about North Korea with Rex Tillerson that much. I made the decision by myself. Rex wasn't in the country. I made the North Korea decision with consultation from many people, but I made the decision by myself. I get the impression that President Trump and Rex Tillerson did not share a lot of time together.
No, I don't think they did, Bill. And I think behind the scenes there was a lot of distance. And you could see that when big events like North Korea happened. Rex Tillerson just the day before had said that the talks are not going to happen, that they're not going to sit down. And then the president announced what he announced. There was a disconnect. And when you have that disconnect between a president and a secretary of state, that's a big issue.
Thanks, Brett. We'll catch you later today and certainly tonight on Special Report at 6 o'clock.